Alrighty, so this last free code camp is the last one we do around HTML. And so the thing I definitely recommend is continue doing the free code camp. It'll help be a great preparation for other classes, hopefully HTML and CSS 85 from us, but whatever your adventure into this field is. Okay, so we move on Thursday to the CSS part one. So I thought it'd be a good time to actually think about what is style because you've learned structure now. And so now the importance of the visual look of a site, the vibe, we could call it. Okay. So in this case, I actually did some thinking about how we would do this, right? So I think what we're going to do is look at our own Fresno City site to see how its design affects your experience as a student. And so, of course, I've given a link, but I'm guessing you all have that already. But take a look at it not as a student, but as a designer seeing it for the first time. Pay attention to certain things like dominant colors, but more importantly, how does it make you feel? Right, the weight. Does the site feel heavy, traditional, light, modern? Any other way you would describe it? Is there a lot of breathing space, or is every inch filled with text and images? So just think about that, right? So as I move over to the site, I immediately start jumping into dev tools, but that's not the idea. Is for you to look around the site and just, and spend some time, maybe go to the places that you visit all the time on the website, right? Current students. Maybe you go to the portal, right? So actually we could have one of you or another more than one actually look at just the portal because the portal looks very different than the Fresno City site, right? And we could look at Canvas. So I think what I'd like to do now that I'm thinking about this is actually extend this to the other, because everything starts at City, but there are other sites around our experiences, your experience as students and my experience as faculty, but we're going to focus on the sites that you do. So, try to pick something different. Like if you see somebody already picked, and I will actually change the content here to reflect that because again there's different, right? I mean, look at what we're in Canvas, and how does that look compared to the way city site or maybe the portal or maybe self-service as well. Okay, so what vibe or personality is in this city, this FCC, and I'm going to say here, whichever one you chose, right? um, is it trying to project, right? And here's some adjectives you could use, right? Point to one, a specific visual thing that gives you that feeling. Compare it to maybe something else, right? Compare that particular site. Again, there's many at Fresno City to one of your favorite ones. What are the biggest differences? And later this week, we're going to start the cafe menu in CSS, right? And you'll be opening the real cafe right here. If you were opening the real cafe here in Fresno, what colors of feel would you want your website to make people feel at home? So this is where we're moving from our coding of the structure of a page to actually thinking about the user who's using that page, and we're doing that by having you look at something in that way because you've just looked at things and used them, but maybe not taken that moment to think about how does that feel? How does that site feel? Okay. All right, so you apply to at least one classmate who might have a different, right? Or maybe they selected a different of the many different ways we experience interfacing with Fresno City from a browser, right? So maybe that's how I'll shift that discussion, right? So this is how we'll grade it. Students describe the visual aspects of it, visually compare it to something else, right? Thoughtful description, describe the vibe for a local Fresno cafe or something else. Like if you wanted to choose something else, I would say that'd be cool too. Like what was the vibe you want it to have? And then meaningful replies, right? And in this case, just one. Because in this case, we're really just extending that conversation. But I thought one thing I'd be kind of fun to do, this is not part of the assignment, but just FYI, is well, one of the things, and I'll go back to the main Fresno City site here. And because there used to be a way you could actually just drop the CSS so that you could see just the content, the HTML, the text, the words, right? And not the images, not the style, not the menus. So today I did a little searching around and I found something I didn't have never used before, and it's a little JavaScript. Now you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to say, can you see a site without CSS? Chrome, I use Chrome. And so what I found is this little fun little, and actually it'd be fun to talk about what this is doing, but it's basically looking through the page and finding wherever there's a style that's linked. So this is the spreadsheets. You're going to learn this coming up soon. And then it iterates over them and it removes them. Now, this is just temporary, but it is kind of interesting to hit inspect, right? And in this case, we've been in inspect. But down here, and this is where, as you continue learning, like when you learn JavaScript and even when you learn more HTML and CSS, you learn this. But if I was to do that, then it gets rid of all. Now you can kind of, you go. So I'm sorry, it doesn't get rid of the images, but it just puts them in line here. Look at that. Wow. Right. So, that might be another fun thing to add to your discussion. So have fun with this. Again, put on your style hat and see what, kind of investigate yourself. How does something make you feel? What kind of vibe do you think they're going for? And again, please venture out, right? I've already mentioned today a couple of different ways we interface with Fresno City, right? And if you have one I haven't mentioned today, please go to it as well, right? So if we went to athletics, that's still within the front. Actually, no, look at this. Actually, athletics looks different today. So what this means is they have ventured out of the regular design of Fresno City. So you could totally do this, okay? So that's what I would say. You'll see the change in the content here, but let's extend this out to the various places and have us all select a different location. That looks a little different, maybe even just a different page on the Fresno City site. But especially if you go to a site, now see, this looks very much, it's branded the same way. You can tell the menus are there. If we go to maps, then, oh, yeah, this is very different, right? So, choose something different. Okay, I'll figure out a wording for that, but look at that. Look for that in the instruction. Have fun with this as we move into style.